Yeah, hey everyone, this is Dwayne with Dwayne's Diagnostics again with another action-packed OCD video on this tractor post-engine rebuild noise diagnosis saga series. And uh what happened is my OCD kind of took over again early this morning. I was up early this morning and I went back and watched one of the videos I did on basically diagnosing this tractor engine knock noise, and the video where I was trying to show and let you hear the knock noise, where I was showing it with a pipe and trying to let you listen to the knock noise. And one of the things that I thought about when I watched that video is I realized, which I had noticed it before, actually, after we got the tractor rebuilt and all back together and running again. I'd noticed all these noises before, but uh, I noticed it again when I went back and watched that video this morning. And this tractor's actually seems like it's, if you watch that video, it seems like it's making just about every possible noise like an engine could make. I mean, it's just it's so noisy. Like, it seems like everything is making noise. The only thing I didn't notice making noise is I didn't hear any main bearing noise. But this tractor's making so much noise that, maybe all the other noise is kind of drowning out the main bearing noise, if it has any type of main bearing noise. I mean, if you go back and watch that video, this tractor is making just all kinds of noise. And I know a lot of it's coming from the valve train, and I know some of the reason for that, and I know like some of that is normal, just from what I've read, not from me being an experienced diesel guy, but just from what I've read, I know that uh, diesels typically are just generally like more noisy than gas engines, and just seem to be more noisy. So some of that, just from what I've read, is a bit normal. But if you go back to that video and listen, this thing is just making so much noise. And you can hear the valves slamming shut, and just like all kinds of valve train noise and all kinds of noises if you really pay attention to that video. And so it got me thinking about this, and I figured I'd just add this into part of this basically video series on the tractor rebuild, and why it's making all these noises after getting rebuilt. And if it was rebuilt right, then why is it making all these noises? If it was rebuilt right, it shouldn't be making all these noises. And part of the noises, I know what's causing that, and that's kind of what this video is about, and kind of just ties into all the other videos I've made about this tractor engine rebuild, and the post-rebuild noises it's making. But one of the reasons that the valve train is making all this excess noise, I mean, some of it I'm sure is normal on a diesel, but I can point out and show you this was another thing on how this engine didn't get rebuilt right and put back together right. And this is not me trying to bash the other mechanics, just trying to show how the engine wasn't rebuilt right, and how that relates to some of the noises it's making. And some of the noises basically that I've been trying to diagnose since the engine got rebuilt and all put back together. you know and I was involved in this rebuild, and I'm wanting to know, why is it making all these noises and what is causing these noises. uh if the engine got rebuilt right, it shouldn't be making these noises. And I'm a diagnostic guy, so I want to know, what is causing these noises. And I've been spending my time trying to figure that out, what is causing this noise. And mostly I've been just concerned with the loudest knocking noise that it's making. What is causing that loudest knocking noise? Uh, but I know it does have a lot of other noise going on in the valve train. And I know part of the cause for that, but I'm not concerned about trying to diagnose that noise. I know what part of the cause is, and part of the cause is that this engine didn't get rebuilt right according to the manual. And I can show and explain to you how and why, and why it does have the valve train noise does seem to be very loud. And that this is not for me to bash these other mechanics, just I'm trying to figure out what's causing all these noises, and diagnose it accurately, and point out that if this engine did get rebuilt correctly, it shouldn't be making all these noises. And I'm trying to point out, and I guess basically to further my cause in diagnosing these noises, that this engine didn't get rebuilt right, and show some of the reasons, some of the ways it didn't get rebuilt right, and how. And just to kind of support my cause, and that that's why this engine is making all these noises after being rebuilt. But one of the things that I thought about is that, and I didn't realize this until after we got the tractor all back together. And I think because after we got it back together, me and the other guy realized it was making a knocking noise, and we both listened to it, and I heard that the valve train was making all this noise, and it seemed like excessively loud to me. But I'm not an experienced diesel guy. But I think what led me to go back to the repair manual was that I was thinking that the knocking noise it was making after rebuilding it was maybe camshaft noise, because that's one of the things that didn't get checked on this rebuild, is the camshaft bearings, which is another point on how the guys rebuilding this engine didn't seem like super knowledgeable, super experienced engine rebuilders. Because during the time of rebuilding this engine, I never heard either one of them mention anything about the camshaft or the camshaft bearings, or checking the camshaft bearings. And that's something that an experienced, super knowledgeable, or not even super knowledgeable, just an experienced knowledgeable mechanic that knows basics and fundamentals, and is experienced in engine rebuilding, should know that you should check the camshaft bearings, since the camshaft and the drivetrain is basically like half of the engine. But that's one thing that never got checked. I never heard either one of the guys mention it, anything about the camshaft bearings or the camshaft. So that's just another point to make, that these guys didn't seem like super experienced, knowledgeable engine rebuilders. But so I think that's what led me to go back through the manual. I was checking about how to replace the camshaft bearings, and that is something I did think about during the job, but I didn't mention it to the other guys, because the one guy pretty much didn't want to listen to anything I said anyway, and wanted to tell me I'm wrong and argue with me about everything. So they were running the job, they were responsible for rebuilding it right. So and then I kind of just forgot about it, so I never mentioned it to them. But I think I did. This is when I caught it, was when I was going back trying to figure out what's causing the noise after rebuilding it. And I think that's when I noticed this in the repair manual. And this is actually part of the one of the steps in actually putting the cylinder head back on. But it says for the rocker shaft assembly, coat all components with engine oil and position the notch on the front of the rocker shaft upwards to correctly locate the oil holes. Figure 19. And then it shows you the notch right here. So this notch has to be in this upward position to align the oil holes of this rocker shaft. That and these holes are down here in these support block things right here on each, and there's a bolt for each of them. And these bolts are actually 4 of the cylinder head bolts. These bolts right here, 14, 6, 4, and 12. And this is one of the steps that actually did not get done during us putting the head back on, because that was another thing that I've pointed out in some of my previous videos, that these guys weren't guys that seemed to go by the book or use the repair manual, or were like super experienced in using repair manuals or following repair manuals. Even though they were supposed to be the older, more experienced, knowledgeable mechanics and engine rebuilders. But that step is actually pretty critical, because what happens is, and I can go through this to explain it to you and show it to you, but I guess I'll read that first. This is talking about the engine lubrication system, and it says, you know, an intermittent flow of oil is directed to the valve rocker arm shaft assembly via a drilled passage in the cylinder block located vertically above the number 1 camshaft bearing. This drilling aligns with a corresponding hole in the cylinder head. As the camshaft turns, holes in the camshaft and camshaft bearing align, and a regulated stream of oil is directed to the cylinder head and on up the rocker arm shaft support bolt to the rocker shaft. The oil flows from the shaft through drilled holes in each rocker arm bushing to lubricate both ends of the arms. Excess oil flows down the push rods and assists in lubricating the tappets before draining back into the sump through cord openings in the block. So to paraphrase what that's saying, basically it's saying oil gets shot up through holes in the camshaft bearings, and probably hard to see in this picture, but you can see this kind of shaded line right here. That's where it gets shot up into the camshaft right here. And then it goes through the camshaft to lubricate the rocker arms and the push rods. And so that's pretty critical to lubricating the rocker arms, this whole shaft, the push rods, the valves. And as far as I know, that step did not get done, because these guys, you know, were not guys that followed the repair manual. They never said anything about it. I wasn't aware of it at the time that we installed the cylinder head, and like at that time they seemed like they were in a rush to just get the cylinder head on, and for some reason they were in a hurry that day, which was actually rare, because they weren't super fast any other day, but for some reason they were in a rush to get the cylinder head on at that time. And actually the guy running the show, trying to run the show and be the know-it-all, he was trying to rush and put the cylinder head on without even without even knowing that this rocker shaft needed to get installed, that these 4 bolts are actually 4 of the bolts that actually hold this rocker shaft down, but they also actually double as 4 of the cylinder head bolts that hold the head down. And he didn't even know that. He wasn't aware of that. So can pretty much assume that neither one of these guys had read this step or followed this step when installing this rocker shaft or installing the head. And actually, he was in a rush, and I still hadn't even cleaned up this rocker shaft and cleaned up the push rods, and but he was trying to rush and just get the cylinder head on without even knowing that this rocker shaft had to go on with it. And they were the ones that actually asked me what the torque specs were for the head, and I was the one that told them what the torque specs were, and had to show them this page in the manual so that they could go by the correct torque sequence here that it shows 1 2 3 4 5 6. I was the one that had to tell them the torque specs and show them what the torque specs were, and show them this torque sequence in the manual, which you would think if they were super knowledgeable, experienced engine rebuilders and mechanics, that that's something they would have already looked up or known themselves, but they asked me, even though they were under the impression that I was the lesser knowledgeable mechanic. Why they asked me, kind of shows that they're not book guys, But so part of that is unless they got lucky, unless just by like happenstance or like dumb luck, this notch that lines up the holes in this rocker shaft, unless by like happenstance, it just happened, that notch just happened to line up when they installed the rocker shaft. We could have got lucky on that, but I doubt we did. And that's why I believe that the rocker arms and the valves and everything is so much louder on this tractor and making so much noise, because this rocker shaft and these rocker arms and the push rods and everything, unless that hole accidentally or luckily lined up, this step never got done. So all those rocker arms and valves and the push rods wouldn't be getting oiled right, because those holes have to get lined up right to align up with that passageway that I showed you in this right here, that lines up with the camshaft bearing where the oil gets shot through. So that's just one of the things I was thinking about when I went over that video this morning, and realized, noticed on that video, how much noise you can actually hear on that video, and how much valve train noise you can hear. That this step actually got missed, and that is probably a huge part of why this valve train and all the valve train components are making so much noise, because that this step got missed. And that's actually going to end up causing all that stuff to wear out a lot quicker. But I tried to tell my landlord about it the other day, and he really didn't care. He didn't really want to hear it. He didn't want to know about it. I think partly because he thinks I'm just trying to like bash his mechanic friend, that he didn't rebuild the engine right, and I'm trying to look like I'm the smarter guy or something and make his friend look stupid, which I'm not trying to do. I'm just trying to figure out what is causing these noises on the engine after it got rebuilt, why it has all these noises, and point out some of the steps in the rebuilding process that didn't get done right. And not to bash these guys, but just show ways that they didn't seem like, you know, super knowledgeable, experienced mechanics or engine rebuilders. And that's part of why this engine didn't get rebuilt right. And you know, that's part of why it's making all these noises after being rebuilt. But no, it's not for me to just bash these guys, because I've said this in some of my previous videos that these guys are actually smart, knowledgeable mechanics. Just you know, sometimes guys don't know basic fundamental stuff or think of it, or you know, sometimes you can be able to do mechanic work, but it doesn't mean you have all the basic fundamental knowledge, or you know, that maybe like a professional level or educated mechanic would have. You know, guys can do mechanic work, but you know, not everybody's on the same level or has the same education level or basic fundamental level. You know, just because you can do the work don't mean you actually really know all the fundamentals, or right you know, test procedures or repair procedures, or all that stuff. You know, you might be able to replace parts and stuff like that, but uh, you know, there's a huge difference in you know, knowledge level and experience level and all that. And I'm not trying to bash these guys. You know, they're smart, intelligent guys, and the one guy, he knows all kinds of things that I wouldn't be able to figure out, and I don't really know the other guy very well, but he seems like a pretty smart, knowledgeable mechanic. But you know, just in what I experienced and working with them on rebuilding this engine, you know, there seemed to be like a lack of certain knowledge and experience, and you know, what I would consider like doing stuff on a professional type of level. But yeah, this is not me just trying to bash them, just pointing out this was another thing that didn't get done on this rebuild, and is actually adding to some of that noise that the tractor's making. And if you go back to that video, you can hear a lot of that valve train noise, and you know, this engine just making all kinds of noise. And I know some of that's just like, some of that is normal, that, you know, from what I've read, you know, these diesels are just noisier engines. But I know that's one step that got missed, and is probably a cause for some of that noise. And you know, that'll eventually end up making all those parts wear out quicker. So just after going back over that video, I figured I would throw that in the mix, and make a video on this, and show you that was another thing, you know, that's adding to this noise the tractor's making, and how the tractor didn't get rebuilt right. And you know, not to bash these other mechanics, this is just you know, I want to know these things, and you know, because I was involved in doing, you know, a huge chunk of the work on this tractor, but you know, I wasn't responsible for you know, calling the shots on how it got rebuilt. You know, I'm normally a go by the book guy, and follow the book guy, but I wasn't aware of that step. You know, that day they were in a rush to get the cylinder head on, and you know, I wasn't aware of that step at the time. Otherwise, I would have said something. But you know, I'm normally a go by the book guy, and you know, but I wasn't in control of this job, so you know, that step got missed. It wouldn't have got missed if I was the one in control of the job, because you know, I do go by the book and follow the repair manual and the service information, and that's how I've always done things. Always gone by manuals, you know, from the very beginning. But it didn't seem like those guys were that way. Uh, And you know, that's just another part of this story. You know, I was involved in this rebuild. You know, did a good chunk of the work, and you know, it got rebuilt. Then after being rebuilt, it's making all these noises and this big knock noise. And you know, I just want to know why it's making the knock noise, and you know, diagnose it accurately and figure out, is it making the noise because it wasn't rebuilt right, or you know, is it something that just got missed, or you know, why is it making this noise when, you know, after an engine gets rebuilt, it, you know, it shouldn't be making a loud knocking noise or any other knocking noises. So that's just part of my OCD, I guess, in trying to figure this out and diagnose this tractor noise, which I think I pretty much diagnosed it and pretty much proved it throughout the course of all these videos, and proved it with the scope, and proved it with this math and this frequency and hertz and all that. I pretty much proved it's rod knock noise, and it probably has piston slap noise. It sounds like it to me, but I'll probably have to actually scope the tractor again and crack one of those fuel lines open and see what kind of results we get, and see what that shows. But I mean, in my mind, I've already proved and diagnosed that you know, that loud knock noise is rod knock. I've already, in my mind, I've already proved that. If you go back and watch my other videos, I've already proved that. And if, you know, any knowledgeable guys out there that understand engines and engine principles, and you know, crankshaft throws being offset 240 degrees on a 3-cylinder engine, and you know, hertz and revolutions per second and per minute, and that any guys that would watched all my videos and understood all that stuff, you know, I think they'd agree, yeah, that thing's got rod knock. But I guess I'll have to show that what I get on the scope in a future video. But yeah, that's all I got for this one, and I will talk to you on the next one.